Alright, so we're back, and it's time to start working on our windows. Our windows currently don't have any curtains or shades or anything like that to cover them up, which is probably something that we're going to need for our house. So let's go ahead and start that in the next set of videos. What I need to do is get back to the house. I've conveniently created a scene for us to get started with here, and the scene we're going to open up is called 13_start. So I'll just go over here, found it. You'll find it in the project directory folder that comes with this tutorial. So don't worry about it, it'll be there. Okay, so we've got the scene open up here, 13_windows_start. You can see we have everything already set up. What we need to do is get in here and work on those windows. And what we're going to do is work on these windows. So first things first, what I'm going to do is select the windows, which are all one object. And I'll just select that and isolate the selection just to make it easier to work. And I'm going to start with the windows down here at the lower bottom. So I'm just going to come over here and start working on these windows. Now here's one key thing to note, is that the windows are different sizes. But the most important thing isn't the height of the window, it's the width of the window. How wide are these windows? So these windows here, basically all of these, as well as these over here, are the same exact width. So it'll make it easier to create a window shade for, say, this window, and that'll be able to fit these windows and these windows. The height is not important. But these windows here are a different width, and so are the windows in the back, these. But we'll get to that a little bit later. You'll see how I address that issue. Okay, but first things first, we got to start on window shades. I'm going to pull up a reference image and show you more or less what we're going to be creating. So here's a reference image I found on the net of some window shades. And the windows are very similar to ours. They're a little bit wider, but they're basically the same style as ours. So these window shades are going to work out pretty well. Okay, but we're going to be putting a few different elements on these windows. So the window shades are just going to be one of the elements for the windows. So you can see how the window shades are. The image is a little bit blurry. Might pay off to go on the internet and do a search for some really good reference images for window shades. But this is what I'm going to work with. Basically, we have a top part up here, which is basically a roll or a cylinder of the window shade itself rolling up, okay, almost like a carpet. And it rolls down here, and at the bottom there's kind of a piece down here, kind of like a smaller roll or a weight, something down here like a rod that's inside the fabric. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's create this. So I'll move that out of the way and we'll get started. I'll start off here maybe with the center window frame over here. That'll work out pretty good. Okay. So what we can do here is we're going to create a cylinder. So I'm going to go here to the creation tab, grab myself a cylinder. I'm going to turn on auto grid as well. That's going to help me out. And I'm just going to draw a small cylinder right there. Just pull it out a bit. I know it doesn't reach the end of the window frame, but that's okay. I'm going to take off the height segments. Just put that at 1, cap segments 1, sides 18 seems like a little bit too much. I don't want to go with 18. Maybe I'll go with about, I don't know, about 12. Let's do 14. I think 14 is going to work out just fine. Okay, so I've got 14 sides to this. Now I need to get it to be the exact width of the door frame, the window frame, excuse me. The way I can do that is actually pretty easy. I'm going to go to my grid and snap settings and make sure that I have vertex snapping turned on, just vertex snapping. Okay, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my tools menu. I'm going to grab my measure distance tool, and I'm going to turn snapping on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from this vertex here, this point, to this vertex over here on the opposite side. And that's going to give me an exact measurement of the width of the window frame right there where I need this cylinder to be placed, okay? Now, where does it show us that? It shows it in the script editor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to the Max Script main menu. I'm going to go to the Max Script Listener, shortcuts F11 on the keyboard. And you can see over here it placed our distance right there from the measurement, which is about 1 foot, 3 point something something inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that number and I'm going to copy it, Control C to do that, close that out, and then I'm going to put that over here for the height of the cylinder. And now the cylinder is going to fit exactly the same width here of the window frame. But I don't want it to touch the edges there. What I'm going to do is something a little bit different. So what I'll do here is I'll convert this thing to an editable poly. I'll go to the hierarchy tab, effect pivot only, and I'll center the pivot to the middle of the object there. Okay. Now let me take the window frame. I'm going to activate see-through mode there. Alt X to do that quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this polygon here and the polygon on the other side over here, these two, and I'm going to use the move tool. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate local mode. That way when I move, and I turn snapping off, when I move the polygons, they move relative to their local normal. So what I'll do is I'll take this polygon here and I'll move it in just a little bit. Okay, just a tad. And by doing that, the one on the other side moved as well, the same exact amount of distance. Okay, so what I'll do with those two polygons selected is I'm going to go ahead and use the Inset tool. It might be a little bit troublesome to use the Inset tool like that, so I'll go to the Inset options instead. And this gives me just more control. Now inset to something small like that. Let me see if the other side got the same result, and it did. Now what I'll do is I'm simply going to let me take this guy, deactivate see-through mode, go back to this one, and I'm going to go to my extrude options, and I'm going to make sure extrusion is set to local normal. And I'm just going to reduce that because it's too much at the moment, and I'll just make sure that it pushes into the window frame just a little bit. So once it disappears, you're good. I'll hit OK, check the other side out, make sure it's good, and it is. You should still have those polygons selected. Since we don't need them anymore, I'll just go ahead and delete them. Okay, so the top part of the window shade is pretty much done for all intents and purposes. Now what we have to do is create that bottom part down here. So how are we going to do that? Well, this is the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to edge mode and I'm going to select one of these edges back here on the cylinder. I don't want to select the one just below. I want to select one that's further back, like this one over here, so it looks more like the window shade. And I probably should even select the one further back, but I'll just go with this one since it's easier just to work with down here. And what I'll do is I'll go to my extrude options here. And you're going to see it's going to try to extrude it in a very funny and strange way. What I want to do is take the extrusion height, set it to 0, take the extrusion base, set that to 0 as well, and hit OK. Now it looks like nothing happened, but if I use the move tool and I'm going to switch back to world mode, and I pull this down, you notice that it's pulling down this edge with two polygons. That's why it looks all funny like this with these black artifacts, because there's two polygons right here. So what I'm going to end up doing here is I'll just go to wireframe mode real quick, go to Polygon Mode and activate ignore back facing. I'll select that back face polygon right there and delete it since we don't need it. Now I'll come over here and you'll notice that the black artifacts automatically go away. So I'm going to take this edge here and I'm going to bring it down. Basically I'm closing the window shade. I'm placing it in the closed position. I'm going to bring it down to about maybe right here is pretty good. And I'm going to hold down shift and make an extrusion to about right here like this. And what I'm going to end up doing here is, let me pull this up just a little bit. I'm going to take this polygon here. I'm going to use the extrude tool here. I'm going to extrude it by local normal. Just a bit. Something like this looks pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode, select that edge at the end. And then I'm going to select this edge right there. So I've got those two edges selected. I'm going to go to my quad menu here and use the collapse tool. Then I'm going to select that new edge I've created. And I'm going to use chamfer so that I can smooth this thing out. So I'm going to chamfer it to about here. And maybe give it 2 segments. So that looks pretty good. I'll hit OK. And there we go. I've got the little bottom piece right there created. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all the polygons. I'm going to go down here to my polygon smoothing groups and hit auto smooth so it fixes that up for me. Okay, so there we go. And that right there is going to do it. We've got our window shade complete. Okay, so now that the window shade is actually complete, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to adjust the pivot point to make it easier for me to clone this this window shade over to all the other windows. So here's the way that I'm going to do that. I'm going to go over here to my hierarchy tab, go to effect pivot only. I'm going to take that pivot point, I'm going to snap it to this corner vertex of the window frame right there. Okay. Now it looks kind of funny, but let me show you why I'm doing this. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to clone it and snap it to that corner of the window frame on the other window frame, and you'll notice that voila, I have the window shade perfectly cloned over to the other window. Okay, so that's why I did that, in case you're wondering. So I'm going to take this guy here, hold down shift, clone him to the other window frame. Right there's good. Okay, then I'm going to take all of these window shades, all three of these, and I'm going to clone those guys. And where did they go? Not sure where they went there. They kind of just disappeared on me because I had the snapping turned on. I want to make sure you turn that off. Okay, so I'm just going to take these guys here and just start to snap them to where they belong. Just place them right there in the corners. The same process, very simple, easy process. Now you notice that the window shades for the top windows are a little bit short, but that's not a problem. I'll just go to vertex mode, turn off ignore back facing, and I'll grab all those vertices and just pull them down. Make sure you got snapping turned off. And just a key little tip right here when you're doing this, to make things look more natural, you might want to place some of these window shades, make it look like some of them are rolled down more than others. And that'll just add a more realistic, natural touch to your scene. Okay. Since I know that the window frames over here on the right are the exact same dimensions as the ones on the left, I can simply take this guy here, and when I move him over to the other side over here, it's going to fit perfectly with that window. Just snap that there, and snap this one over here, and we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so I think you get the idea of how that works. Just taking the geometry you've already created and reusing it over and over again. But what about a situation like this where you have these wider windows and this one obviously is not going to fit? Well, if you scale the object manually, it's not going to be very precise. So I'm going to show you a very simple, quick technique to get this thing to work out the way that you want it to. I'm going to take this guy, clone it, and place it over here. There it is. Okay. After I place it there, I'm pretty much set up so that I can create a larger window shade for this window. But I'm going to save that and do that in the next video. I'm going to end this one here, and we'll just continue to pick up on the next video where I left off.